Hello, I'm Skye Taylor, and welcome to episode number 3 of The Crazy Painter. You know, folks, today I'm going to exchange my coffee cup in for a big bowl of popcorn. Tonight's movie night, folks, and I'm going to meet up with Mr. Tube and Miss Brush, and they picked out the movie. I was supposed to bring the popcorn. And you. Come along with me, plenty to share. Let's see what they're up to. Need salt.
Okay, Mr. Tube and Miss Brush, I got the popcorn. What movie are we going to watch?
Well, it isn't exactly a movie, Skye.
What the tube is trying to say is we want to see a how to paint video.
Excuse me, Miss Brush. Do you always have to talk over me when I'm talking? I thought I was asking Skye.
Just like old thick paint, you're just too slow.
Brush off, Miss Brush.
Dry up, you old paint.
Hey, you guys, enough already. Miss Brush, it's nothing to lose a hair over, but you need to brush up on your manners. And Mr. Tube, put a cap on it before I'm forced to squeeze you dry.
Sorry, Skye.
I'm sorry, too.
I'm sorry, 3. Now let's roll the movie. Oh, nice.
Hey.
Huh? Okay. Got my brush out of the water and I'm drying it up, getting it ready to paint an abstract. Guess that's good. And we have burnt orange, burnt sienna, deep blue, white, cadmium yellow light, yellow ochre, black, cadmium orange, light green, sap green, teal, and ultramarine blue. And those are the colors we will be working with. Not all of them probably, but most of them. Because abstracts are spontaneous, we don't know what we're going to use. What I'm going to start off with is a little of the ultramarine blue, kind of like that color, and just a little bit of black. I'm going to mix that to make kind of a really dark blue-black. And I'm just going to get in there and create something crazy just like that. You have to fire it in there. Now, see what happens here? By doing something like that, I've created a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy to the piece. Let's see, what else can we do? We're going to take let's take a little bit of yellow. We're not cleaning the brush. Going to take a little bit of yellow and blend it in right here, just like that. Maybe a little bit over here, going up, just like that. Maybe add a little bit more yellow right here. What we're doing basically is you want to lay down your base coats. You know, you just want to be very spontaneous. Put it in there, fire that in there. Don't be afraid. Because that's going to make all the difference in the world, because then your abstracts aren't going to look stiff. Now, a lot of artists make the mistake, a lot of amateurs, is they have all one tone. Their canvas is all one tone. Now, what I did was I toned the canvas. You should have a light paint on, a medium paint, and a dark paint. 3 tones makes a good painting. So, okay, we got that fired in there, and I'm going to wash off my brush. Let me do that right here. Oh, okay. So that's what you have to remember. You have to tone your canvas. I always start out with a gray tone. I don't know. Gray always seems to work good for me. That's my tone. That's what I do. Now, a lot of people will use burnt sienna, a real light burnt sienna. That works too. You know, you have to determine what color works for you. But you don't ever just want to, I don't ever start off with an all white canvas. It's sometimes harder to visualize things for me. When I tone it, it's easier to see things. Okay, let's get a little, we're going to use a little bit of white and a little bit of the blue. And we're going to fire this in here, just like this. Now, I put very little paint on my brush. I'm actually like dry brushing it in. Oh, try saying that with a mouthful of marbles. See how that goes? By just using a little bit of dry brush, you can create some interesting things. You just fire that in there. Don't be timid. And by doing this and scrubbing the canvas, you're blending the paints. You are blending the paints. Now, of course, you could use a little spray, a little bit of the spray bottle, but that's what you're doing, see? You could use a little bit of the spray bottle if you want to get a little bit better. But you just go a little bit and scrub that guy in there like that. Usually when I paint abstracts, I paint really fast because the faster you paint, the less your brain thinks. You want to put on music and just go for it. Don't be afraid. Don't let it intimidate you. Get in there and really fire in those paintbrush strokes. And don't be afraid, because that's what happens. Great things will begin to happen when you're not afraid of it. You just fire that in there like that. Get aggressive with it. You see how it's starting to take on some sort of depth? Okay, let's get a little bit more blue going here. We're just going to go. Just touch a little bit. Yep, just a little bit like that. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to, by putting in the gray first, when you add the white, it really pops the white. I don't know, that, I always like the way that looks. I'm going to make, it's going to be light. My light is going to be over on this side. And I'm not cleaning my brush. I have a little bit of yellow on there. And that's why no paintings are going to look alike. Even if you try this, your brush strokes are going to be different than mine. So here I'm using a little bit of white. A little bit of yellow is still on the brush. And I'm not using a lot of paint. I'm scrubbing it in there. Now remember, my brush was damp because it's soaked overnight. Now sometimes people will say that the ferrules get a little rusty. I never had that problem because I'm a sloppy painter. I get paint all over them anyways, and when I leave them in water, they're protected. And if they do rust up and you do have a rust problem, buy a different kind of brush. You bought too cheap of a brush. I usually get mine at Menards or Home Depot or one of the home improvement stores. A little bit better than the Blue Store, if you know what I mean. A little bit better. Blue Store is okay in a pinch. But that's what you want to do. You want to be aggressive with it. This is an abstract. You got to put power and get crazy with it. Just like that. Okay. Now I like what's going on here. I'm going to add a little bit more of my dark green right down in here. See, when you begin to see things like this, you can add your color. You can add a little bit more color to it and brighten it up. You know, once you see. Okay. Let's get a little bit more going on here. Just like that. Okay, let me wash off my brush real quick. Okay, and we'll go on for some more colors. There you go, the old Bob Ross. Okay. But the thing is to have fun with it. You don't want to paint, when you're painting abstracts, you don't want to paint like this, like we did in the first video. That was just to show you, that's not me. I get aggressive with it. Put on the music and listen to the music and just let go. Let let that brush go and don't worry about making mistakes. Use very little paint at first and then build up to it. You know, you don't have to put a glob of paint on right at the beginning. Do soft layers. That's the secret. You build up. You build up on your paint. Okay, let's see what we got here. You know, I'm going to take a little bit of teal. And let's try a little bit of teal here and see what happens. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Now I'm just barely putting the brush on. I'm just like playing with it. And if you notice right here, I just have it a little bit on the tip. Not much. And we're just playing with it. Let it very lightly. Okay. And you kind of want to put the paint in several places when you're doing it, when you're painting a streak. You got it here. You might want to put just a little bit here. Just like that. Like my teacher would say. Skye, my boy, I put it on it just like that. That's what he would say. Okay. Now you see what happens here is because I put the green down, now I'm putting the teal, and see how that pops? It makes for a very interesting painting. Now, okay, let's put a little bit up here. Let's just make a solid up here. Let's really pop it up here. There you go. Maybe just a little bit of white and a little bit of teal, and pop it up there. Maybe just a little bit more white. All right, get in there and get crazy. Just like that. Let that brush go back and forth like this. And whatever happens, happens. Okay. Okay, let's put a little bit of white over here. I kind of want a little white going. See how I'm building it up? Slowly. I'm not adding all the color at one time. You build up softly in layers by, you can dry brush it at the beginning and then slowly add more color once you see where you want to be, what you want. There you go. I love the white. See, against the gray, I just can see it so well. Okay. Let's just like I'm using the corner of the brush and I'm just like firing in stuff like here. Okay. Oops. Okay, got a little yellow going on in there. Picked up a little bit of yellow. And it starts to paint itself. And you're just adding colors, you see. And that's what happens, just like that. You got a little yellow here, just throw a little bit over here, lightly, just so it balances out. You want things to balance out. We got something going on here. Looks kind of interesting. Okay, let's get a little bit more of our ultramarine, and we're going to mix it with a little bit of the sap green, and we're going to just fire in some more here. Okay. Just lightly, there you go. I'm going to add just a little bit of white here. I haven't even cleaned my brush yet. But you see, by doing different strokes like this, by just laying it in, you can get some really interesting things. Okay, I like white here. Let's go for a little bit more white here. Oops. I want to brighten that out a little bit. Let me clean off my brush. Time to clean it. There's the old Bob Ross. Yep, they don't call me the crazy painter for nothing, you guys. Gotta be crazy when you paint. You gotta be, oh, what the heck happened there? Must have had something on my thing. Look at what happened there. Well, we'll have to get that out. That happens. Must have touched it some way. Sometimes sleeves will get in paint. And I wear long sleeve shirts, so that happens sometimes. But that's not a problem. We can always get that out. We can get just a little bit of the white. Take it off with the rag. You wipe it off. And just, there you go. Bad as new. That's how you get it out. Don't panic, you know. Never want to panic. Okay, let's get some different colors in here and have fun with this. Let's see here. Let's try a little bit of the, I'm going to try a little bit of the yellow ochre. Mix it with a little bit of white. Okay, let's see what I got here. Yeah, that's the bad part of having these sleeves hanging. They do pick up paint. Okay. And I'm going to give it a little bit of yellow light right here. And you have to have solid areas. That's important too, because that balances it out. You can't always have all just a bunch of paint on the canvas. You should have some solid areas. Okay. And I'm kind of like just dry brushing it in here, just like this. Okay, I got to get rid of these sleeves. They're sticking out like this, and they're creating their own painting. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to use just a little bit more white because I like what's going on here. Okay, just like that. A little on the hard side because I'm off to an angle trying to paint so I can get better camera angles. So, okay, I'm going to throw a little bit of white over on this side to balance it out. There you go. Okay, just the like of that. I want to do something down here. I want to make this a little bit darker gray. I think we can go a little bit darker right in here. So let's do that. Excuse me while I get some dark gray paint, which is down below. Okay, I got some gray paint here, and I'm going to paint just a little bit here. Get some paper towel going here. Brushing it off, I just want a little bit, not much. And you always want to, like I say, carry your paint over. If you have it in one spot, put it in another, usually in threes, so it balances things out. Okay, let me get back my palette here. Okay. Going to take a little bit of white, a little bit more yellow, and I'm going to just very lightly, with the corner of the brush, put a little bit of the color over on this side. Okay, there you go, just like that. Okay, now we are going to, I want to add a little bit more, make this a little darker. I'm taking the ultramarine blue and a little bit of the black, and I want to darken this area up a little bit. Maybe just a little bit more black. Yep, just like that, and down here just a little bit. Okay. Okay, just like that. just a little bit in the center here. Okay, and maybe just a little bit here. Now, what I'm doing with the brush right now is I'm kind of dabbing it. I'm taking advantage of the fact that the brush is kind of spread out like that, and that can make some interesting effects by doing stuff like that. You know, by taking advantage of the hairs that, this is what happens when a brush gets seasoned. Now, I've probably had this brush for about 5 years, and I always use it, this and a couple other brushes, and you can see how worn it is, but that's when it becomes the best, when I can paint with it, because it kind of seasons it. Okay, let's do something else. I want to get a little bit more yellow-green in here. Let me brush off my brush. Okay. All right. Little paper towel going here. Always keep a roll of paper towel handy, folks. And keep your water clean in your bucket. Now, I always have 2 big buckets. You can never have enough buckets of water. One I keep my brushes soaking in, and the other one I use to clean with. And if this one gets dirty, then I'll just start cleaning the one where the brushes are in. It's okay. Okay, what are we doing here? We want to put a little more green. Okay. Let's get some green in here. Now I'm brightening it up a little bit more bright. Okay. A little bit of yellow. Okay. And let's darken it up a little bit with a little bit of blue. Okay. Okay, just like that. Okay. See, what's neat too is you can use the back of the brush to scratch in and create some interesting effects. I do that often because that creates a different type of, you could even dip it in a little paint and draw with it. It creates some interesting lines and textures to the canvas. Okay, I want to add a little bit different color in here. Let's see what we can do. Clean off our brush. Okay. We're doing all this with a 2-inch brush. What do we want to do? Let's take a little orange and have fun with it. Where are we going to put the orange? Let's see, where are we going to put that? Oh, don't think. Put it right there. Maybe just a little bit there. Just like that, by adding a little bit of color in. I'm going light. I'm blending it in with the background. You see, everything is blending. You just don't want to just lay color down without blending. It can be a lot of fun. Now, my brush is a little bit on the wet side, and I'm taking advantage of that. And we're going to put up a little color right like this. And I'm using the corner of the brush to create some interesting effects. Just like that. You see how easy that is? It's not that hard. You just play with it. That's all. And go light and build up to the color. Don't add a ton of color at first. Use your color sparingly and mix it right on the canvas. Now this could change 1,000 times. You could be playing with this and it's going to take on different looks all the time. You know, it's just knowing when to stop, and that's always sometimes the hardest part of being an artist, because you're going and, oh, this looks good. What if I do this? And you do another thing and another thing, and it's knowing when to stop. And it's not easy. Sometimes I don't either. I just keep going and going, and then all of a sudden, it's not that good, you know. So you have to know when to stop. And that's the important thing. Now you see I'm taking advantage of the brush hairs. Look at this. Creating some interesting lines here. Just by lightly doing the brush. And that comes from having a seasoned brush used a lot, you know, and soaking it in water all the time. Okay. Creates an interesting thing here. Let's get a little of the orange down in here to balance it out. Okay. Now we want to really make it a little bit darker here. It's almost like ocean waves, you know, waves of color, like splashes. And just by experimenting and using the corner of the brush, use that complete brush, you can be surprised. You will be surprised what you can do with just a 2-inch brush. It's amazing. You know, that's all I almost ever paint with them doing abstracts. Of course, I like to paint bigger than this, and that's when I can really do some stuff. It's harder sometimes to paint smaller than it is bigger, but when you're starting out, paint smaller. Don't get big until if you can master the small, you're going to have a great time with the big. So that's the way you do it. Okay. Okay, let me get a little bit more. Hail Bob Ross. Hail Bob Ross. Always makes me laugh. Now, to be honest with you, when I grew up, I watched Bill Alexander. I never saw Bob Ross. Heard about him, but never watched him. I only watched him about a year ago, and I laughed. You know, there's a lot of parodies on him, and I did one myself, but actually I never watched him. Okay, let's see here. Let's get a little bit more yellow and white going on here. We're going to take a little bit more of our white, titanium white. I like titanium white. And go lightly here. You see how I'm just like scrubbing it on lightly to create. I just picked up a little bit of yellow on my brush. And over here I want it white. I want the light to be coming in from that side. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more white. And just the like of that. Like my art teacher would say, just the like of that. This is where the light is coming in. And it's fun because you can create some really wonderful, colorful abstracts by just relaxing and slowly building up your colors. Don't attack, don't put a lot of color on at once, use slowly. Use white to blend. You can blend it right on your canvas. And as you go along, then you can see what you want to add and what you want to do. And that's what really makes it fun. You can start seeing things, you know, like maybe a little bit of white here, and I'm just lightly touching it. Maybe a little bit down here. And then slowly bring it in here like this. And by dry brushing it with the loose bristles, I'm able to create some interesting lines. You know, just like that. Oops. Maybe that's a little bit too much, but look what, that's what I'm my worst enemy. I'm my own worst enemy with my sleeve. Look, oh gosh. Oh, brother. I gotta, excuse me while I button up my sleeves here. This is my downfall here. It's backtracking and creating its own painting. Not worried though, I'll fix it. I always like my sleeves open and it's not gonna work. Okay, let's try to fix this here. I'm doing something and it's creating its own stuff. Okay, no problem. Let's see here. I can scrub that out. Sometimes it's like something is painting it for you. It's kind of amazing. I look and all of a sudden I'm seeing a lot of different marks on. But I have to wear a long sleeve because otherwise, when I did my very first videos back in the day, I did a speed video. My very first speed video, the painting came out great. The only problem was that you saw more butt crack than you saw painting. So then I decided, I did it over again, and it's just like, oh my gosh, my shirts would creep up in the back, you know, when I painted. So that's why now I have a long sleeve shirt, and I thought I'd be cool and just leave the sleeves open. And I'm working really tight here in order to get good camera angles just for you. And this is what happens. Okay, let me fix this up here. And you can wipe it off too. It's no big deal. By scrubbing it in, you can work out your mistakes. Not a problem. We're going to have a little bit more light coming in on this side like that. And maybe just a little bit down here. Just like that. Okay. I want to get a little darker in here, I think. So I'm taking some of my ultramarine blues, and we're going to put some blues in here, just like that. Now you notice how I'm balancing it out. I'm putting a little bit over here and over there. And you want to have some solid colors. You don't want to actually have a bunch of movement going on without any colors. I mean, any solid colors like this, because otherwise it takes away. You're trying to put focus on what you're doing. Okay. And see, by putting the blue on there, now I'm taking a little bit of white. I can splash a little bit of white in there. Create some movement. There you go. Okay. Take a little bit of black. Oops. Got a little white on my brush. But that's the fun. It happens. Don't get excited. You'll fix it. It can always be painted over. It's not a problem. You let it dry, you walk away, you come back the next day, look at it again. I'm going to leave my thing there. Let's get this down here. And just by moving the brushes like that, we're creating some interesting... Okay. Basically, what I want you to do is just relax and paint the abstracts. Lay your colors in. Don't get excited. It's not rocket science. It's just relaxing and having fun with it. And just firing that in there, and don't be afraid of it. You know what? The worst that can happen is you're going to have to paint over it. If it looks bad, you paint over it again. It's not a big deal. So don't hold back. You know, it's like a horse race. When those horses go out a gate, you don't want to hold the horse back, or do you? I wouldn't. If that gate, the bell rang, man, that horse would go like a bat out of hell, and I wouldn't look back. I want to win the race. And that's where you have to paint. You have to let go and just go for it. Don't look back. Never look back. Keep going forward. Okay, so we want to add some, let's see here, we want to add a little bit of color here. See, by just adding a little bit of color here and there, how you can create some fun things. Okay. Just the like of that. I want a little bit black in there. I kind of like a little bit black. You can use brush sideways to create different things, just like that. Get in there. The main thing is not to be afraid of it. You got to just go for it. You know, I see one of my artist friends. He sells DVDs, art videos, and sells them for like $30. And one of the complaints that people say is that when he's painting, he doesn't talk. He doesn't say anything. He just paints. It's like a speed video. You know, that's not good. How can you do an instructional video if you don't talk to people and at least give them an idea what you're doing? You know, that's the way I look at it. And that's why I won't charge and I won't do a DVD. I'm going to give it to you for free. You know, the only thing is you got to put up with my bad humor. Mr. Brush and Mr. Tube, my little creations, because I like to do animation and it's a way for me to sneak it in. So I hope you enjoy that. I don't know. It's corny, but, you know, kind of reminds me back in the 70s when we were kids. That Saturday morning, you'd watch some show, if you're old enough to remember. And it would always have kind of a little lame plot. But, you know, after you watch them, you become addictive. It's like the Brady Bunch, you know. You know, my wife bought the DVDs and we started watching it when we were eating. And next thing you know, we're hooked on watching the Brady Bunch, and they were really, but I don't know, it just grows on you after a while. And there's a reason why they are so popular. And we're going to go up with this and create movement. Make that a little bit darker. Make it a little bit darker here. You see, I'm just using the brush, the brush to create the movements. Dry brushing it. And I hope that kind of helped you out a little bit and helped you to see what I'm doing here. And you'd be surprised what you can do, you know, by dry brushing it and starting out this way. Okay, I want to add a little bit more whites in there now. A little bit more lighter areas. Okay. We're just almost done with this. Sometimes it's better to leave it, walk away, and then add to it later. Let's put a little bit more bright here on this brush. You know, what I see from my angle and what you might see might be two different things. Hopefully you're seeing it the way I'm seeing it. Okay, let's get that in there. I always add my white tones kind of last. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's the way I do it. Okay, I like the light coming in from that side. Let's get a lot of white in here. And I'm just like, there you go. Just like that. There you go. Got some white spots coming down here. Not too much. That out a little bit. It's almost like clouds, you know, with the sun coming through them. And that's how you do it. You just build it up. And don't be afraid to use the back of that brush. You can create some interesting effects by just scrubbing it in. Okay. And by poking with the brush, by using the very tip of the brush like this, you can create different you can create different, looks like different lights. Okay. I'm not liking what's going on right here. Let's get that a little more blue in here. So you can build your color up once you have once you have your base down. You can build up on it. And that's how you do it, kids. Get a little more blue going on in here. I kind of like that. More green. Oh, you should have stopped at 2.31. That's what I get. People say, oh, you should have stopped. I'm an artist. I don't know when to stop. I have so much fun. I just want to keep going. And that's the hard part. Let me wipe this off. And we are just about finished with this. And the main thing is to have fun. Like that. Get it in there. Oh, yeah. Slap that booger. Slap that booger, folks. Yep, just like that. Okay. Let's get a little more white going on over there. See, that's when it's the best, is when you're firing that brush in, because you're not controlling, you're not thinking, you're just firing it in there like that. And that's when it's you're putting energy on the canvas. You know, you don't. You don't think about it. I like the yellow in there. Let's just go a little bit more yellow. And we're just about finished with this. Okay. You see how I'm doing it? Not being intimidated with it. Just let it happen. And it'll begin to paint itself. I'm real light with the brush. Just let it happen. And blending it with the whites. Let's go a little more yellow over here to balance it out. Oops. Okay. Go black down here. I had a little bit of orange on my black, and I'm popping it in here. Now I'm just scraping over real lightly to create movement. Just like that, go up. Okay, let's do this. It's almost like you're just firing it in. Okay, just like that. Let me clean my brush, and we'll put the finishing touches here on it. See what I'm doing? You're constantly blending stuff. You're always blending your colors. One color blends into the next. And that's what creates movement. That's what it's all about, movement. Creating movement. Just like that. Let's get some white going on here. And just like that. I want to blend this in a little bit. Now, if your paint tends to get a little bit dry, don't be afraid to use your spray bottle. Let me just add a little bit more white right here. There you go. Create some movement. Okay, there we go. And just like that. Okay. Oops. Let's get a little more orange going on there. And we're just about finished with this. I just want to add a little orange highlights here. Just like that. Maybe just a dot or two here. Okay. And basically that's what it is. You just keep trying to move your colors in threes. If you put it in one spot, you want to put it in a couple of spots, or a shade or a variation of it. Let's just get that just a little white. Okay. A bit more orange. There you go. Like that. And that's how you do it. Have fun with it. You know, some will be masterpieces, some might not, but you know what? You could always paint over them. So the secret for today is to start out light and build up. You can always build up your colors. I always add white last. Some people might add white first, I don't know. But that's probably, I paint everything backwards anyways. But that's how I do it. And we're going to stop right there. Let's get a little white spot up there because it calls for it. There you go. And I think we're just about finished here. Let's add a little bit more blue right here. Oops. You could always go in with a palette knife and add color to it, you know, where you want to highlight it. You could do that too with a palette knife. I've done that before after the picture was done. And see how it always evolves? It looks one way when you do, when you start out, but the more you do it, the different it looks. It takes on, many, many paintings will happen within one painting. Many paintings. That's what makes it so exciting, you know? You don't know. And I think we're going to stop right there. Let me put my brush down. Probably could do more to it. Probably fix it up a little bit better, but you know what? It's an abstract. Well, I'll show it to you at the very end when it dries. It's going to look a little bit different. Under the light, sometimes you'll see shiny spots. But, well, I hope you enjoyed this abstract painting. And if you get anything out of this lesson, it's to be free with your brush. Don't hold back. Fire it in there. Don't be afraid. But start out with less color on your brush. You know, that's the best way to do it at the beginning. You know, and then build up on your colors. Don't throw a bunch of colors right at the beginning, because if the colors are too heavy, you could run the risk of getting it really muddy. So you want to go light and build up layers. And that's what will make a very interesting painting. Well, that's my approach anyways. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Crazy Painter. Bye, folks. Oh, wait. Where am I? Oh. I don't have my Coffee with Skye coffee cup. I don't want to get it full of paint. But here's looking at you, and believe in yourself, because yes, you can paint. You can do this. Don't think you can't. It's expressive. It's being very expressive and doing what you feel in your heart. Don't be afraid of it. Fire it in. The canvas isn't going to bite you. Create your masterpiece and just let go. That's the whole thing about abstracts. It's learning to let go. You know, if you're controlled with every brush stroke and you're watching every little brush stroke that you do and thinking about it, that's when you get into trouble. It's not going to be that good. You know, to me, I would fire up the music and I'd be gone. You know, I'd paint. It's more difficult to do a video demonstration because I'm slow and I'm telling you and talking to you. So it's a little bit more difficult than actually if I just get in there and put on the music and start painting. And that's what you ought to do. Lose yourself in your music and don't be afraid. Get that brush and slap that booger and enjoy yourself and have a good time. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. We'll be talking to you real soon. Bye.